a thing called the 6 human needs. If there's something lacking in your life, do the test and see what it says you need or what you strive for. And if you haven't got that in your life, look at where you can add it in.
Welcome back to the Lose to Win podcast with myself, Josh, Jack and Ben. How are we doing, lads? We're in a little fun bus this week.
Good evening, yeah. So I'm looking at you two boys nestled nicely in the back of a van in some car park somewhere. Slightly
we've had a
dubious.
few guys come up to the window and have a little peer in. I've no idea. Fucking nosy bastards.
Yeah.
Know what they're after.
Shining torches through the windows.
Hands in their pockets, I think.
I should give your van a wash tomorrow morning, mate.
Yeah, maybe.
I think Jack left his lights flashing.
It's wiped. It's wiped clean, thankfully, so we should be alright. Yeah, we're good. I know we keep saying about it, but we will do a record in this in the springtime when it's a little bit warmer. We'll come and pick you up over in the deepest darkest depths of Christchurch or wherever you bloody are. Yeah, and don't want to disturb all the biddies around you driving the van in at late at night. The curtain switches will get going, won't they?
They will.
But yeah, we're doing this because we've got football tonight, so we're going straight to a kick around after. So we thought we might as well do this and go from there. So yeah, shall we? I'm good. How are you, Ben? Actually, how's things with you?
I'm good, mate. Yeah, I'm good, thanks. I went up to my mother's at the weekend up in Wrexham to go and sort a few things out for her. So a bit of a long round trip, but she's sort of slowly on the mend and things are getting better up there. So that's good. So yeah, good. Yeah, I'm having a busy week.
Mate, yeah.
Clocking the miles up, mate. Yeah. But
I was saying to Josh on the way over here, this week I've just worked out because I obviously have to record on my mileage for work. At the end of today, after a 4.5 hour drive back from Truro, I've clocked up just over 1,200 miles this week, and it's only Thursday. Tomorrow is the day in front of the laptop catching up with everything. Tomorrow's an admin day, but it's been really fruitful and a really good week. Really busy, really productive. A couple of orders as well.
I've done 15 miles this week.
Something about
that. No, a bit more than that. Exaggeration, but
yeah. So me going karting is like a busman's holiday, isn't it? Like, driven a week, and then was it Dave Coaches on Gavin and Stacey, and he stops at a service station as I go on the go-kart on the Mario Kart, doesn't he? It's like just trying to take a break, trying to have a break. That's what my life feels like, mate. But it's all good. It's all good fun.
I have actually a quick question for him. How does this? So Ben, how does you going up to your mother tonight affect your like man v fat kind of stuff? How do you find it affects your week? Does it affect your week in terms of?
Well, I stay with my sister.
To answer that question.
Well, I stay with my sister who lives like 20 minutes away from my mum. So, and she's a very good cook. So I did have a rather nice chicken and ham pie on Sunday, followed by a pineapple upside down sponge with custard and ice cream.
Yeah,
but I've been really good for the rest of the week, so we can have a day off, can't we? Absolutely. Although I did drink a few glasses of wine with some cheese on Friday night for the Traitors final, which was excellent.
You Frenchy.
Treated yourself. He's even got his French top on.
I am, look.
Where's your beret, mate? Any other stereotypes?
I've got a string of onions down here.
Yeah, I thought you might. Traitors, Traitors was good, wasn't it?
Yeah, really yeah, loved it. So it's a bit quiet in the chat after the footy on Friday because we had the early game, so straight off after the footy to come back to big old bottle of wine and some cheese. It was delicious and really nice evening. But yeah, so from a food point of view, I'm not too bad actually. I take some lunch with me so I don't stop and get quick stuff, and then I eat fairly sensibly when I'm there, and then. It can be difficult, can't it, when you're just food on the go all the time? But I try and take some stuff with me that's not too bad. But I think I've had a good week actually. I was a tiny weeny bit up at the beginning of the week, but then I always am. And this morning I was down 0.5 kilo. So if I can be down by 0.5 kilo tomorrow, then happy days.
Yeah,
I'll be happy with that.
Small and steady, mate. Yeah.
Yeah. How about you boys?
Yeah, you, Jack. Because obviously driving.
The drive, exactly. You just said quick and easy stuff is never the good stuff, is it? When you're stopping. So yeah, I've been good. I did have a I did have I stayed last night down in Truro and had a nice dinner. It was a what did I have? I had a mozzarella and tomato starter, which was really nice. I appreciate mozzarella; it's not great, but there wasn't a lot of it. I saw somebody else's come out, and I was like, "That's about right. That's a good sized portion." I didn't feel like it was too indulgent, and really well done and tasted great. And then I did a pie mash, but again, based on what I'd already done in the day, I clocked up the day before. I clocked up best part of 20,000 steps, including football.
Wow. Yeah.
Nice.
So that was all round London all day Tuesday, and then football after. And so I kind of felt like I earned it a little bit. I probably could have been a little bit better instead of having a pie mash, but I've been really busy again today and super good on the road today, and just haven't drunk enough today. I come home, went for a piss and like pissing apple juice, like pure apple juice. I need to drink more water.
Delicious.
To be honest, actually, that's probably my biggest. The thing that I struggle because it's just not ever really enters my mind.
Yeah.
I'll get up, go through the day, and it'll get to midday sometimes. I go, I haven't had anything to drink yet.
Yeah.
What am I doing?
Yeah. You have to consciously do it, don't you?
Yeah, exactly. And but then it's like when I'm eating, it's fine. I'll drink loads, but it's more just like I'm not sure that's the best way of doing it. It feels like maybe I should be getting up, having a litre of water, that kind of thing, and spreading it out the day instead of basically having 2.5, 3 litres of water in a space of 3 hours, a 3-hour period, and then not drinking outside.
I was trying to have a nice pint of water in first thing in the morning.
Yeah, not that frozen pint of water or whatever. Who was saying?
Where I've tried to avoid stopping at service stations where that's kind of my kryptonite, where I pick up crap and whatever. I think that's also slowed down my drinking because I'd often get a bottle of water, bottle of sugar-free flavour water, something like that, and sometimes maybe the Pepsi Maxes or whatever. But it's at least it's liquids, if that makes sense. It's not too much of it. But where I've been trying to avoid stopping to stop myself from picking up the crap stuff has probably hit my water or my liquid intake. So yeah, I've had a fair old drink this afternoon, and I will tomorrow as well to make sure I make up for it. But
yeah, well, that's the thing on Fridays as well. People are reluctant to drink too much on Fridays. I'm not saying that's the best attitude, by the way. I'm not sure it is the best attitude.
No, I don't think it is either, especially if you're going straight and play.
I do hear about people doing it, and just because they're worried about it, and then going to the sauna.
Yeah, doing the whole thing.
Like, don't drink much, go to the
sauna.
Nil by
mouth from the morning and then go to a sauna for half an hour just to try and creep under that. Yeah, it's not the best way to do it at all.
No, I've definitely been there, and touch wood, and so far I haven't needed to use the sauna this season. I don't intend on. I wouldn't mind it if I was going. There was a sauna and swimming pool at the hotel I was at last night, but by the time I'd had dinner and Champions League was creeping up quick, I was like, I don't really need to go for a swim and sauna. I don't want to use the sauna for that reason. I want to use the sauna because I enjoy it. It's quite It's quite a nice cleansing, detoxing kind of feeling, but I don't want to use it where I'm dehydrating myself like a prune.
No.
And going that way with it. So yeah.
Cool. What about you, Joshy?
I was actually away this weekend. It was my sister's 30th, so I was in London. And it was one of these things. I'm a massive tourist in London because I never travel anywhere really. So that kind of guy who stands on the wrong side of the escalators on the underground. And
they come and push you out of the way.
Someone shout at you on the left.
Luckily, they've now got loads and loads of signs to stop you from doing that kind of thing. And I was with my sister and that who the proper pros in London.
It's a giveaway, not the fact that everybody stood on one side and you're not.
I'll go and stand over there. It's nice and clear.
It's a good excuse, standing on the wrong side. Someone nudges me and I go, oh yeah, I should probably walk up these now. Walking up them. No, but it's good. I was actually quite good in terms of eating and drinking and that. I'm not a big drinker anyway, so I did actually drink a little bit. Obviously, it's a celebration, so I'm not going to do much of that. But I'm not. I didn't eat a lot generally during the weekend, and that we didn't have any serious plans for that kind of thing. So, I came back lighter than I thought I was going to be. That was pretty good, and still lighter still. So, I've had a good week, really good week. I feel like I'm back in the groove a little bit.
Team of the week?
I'm not sure if it'd be that good.
Okay.
I mean, it was last week. So
it was. That's why I was.
That was 2 weeks though. That was 2 weeks.
That's what I was going to say. So might be a back to back.
We'll see. I just feel like I'm back in the groove a little bit now. I think the main thing is I've just started to remember that it's the footballs that I think I said this last week on the pod, and I'm not sure, but the football's kind of that reward. And then I've kind of got that back in my head now. Friday football's a reward for having a good week.
Yeah.
And then, not saying I want to take it really casually. It's competitive after all. We want to win, but if I've done my job on the scales and I get there, then all that weight is lifted off me in terms of not literally and also just mentally.
Yeah.
So I go there and I think that's what it is really. So then it's a vicious cycle, and you breed that kind of confidence, and
definitely
you keep going that way. So
yeah.
It's been good. Yeah.
Good.
So I'm looking forward to it.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Should we go into the roundup?
Yeah.
Last week. It was a shorter one this week. I went out reading it. I thought it was a bit short.
Yeah.
On my notes, it doesn't even reach.
It came in quite early. I was quite surprised to see it. It didn't do it on the Friday. No, he did it first thing Saturday morning, didn't he? I thought it was
Friday
early.
ones always catch me out.
Yeah,
not catch me out when you get one on a Friday evening.
Yeah.
Probably out selling books, I would have thought.
Yeah, that's why we get him on a Friday, because he's busy on a Saturday.
Yeah. Anyway, we avoided the storms besetting the rest of the country, which I was actually quite relieved at, to be honest. But whipped up a whirlwind of football all of our own. More importantly, weight was lost across the board as our new year, new me mentality started to pay dividends. So generally the results were as follows. So the Purples, you won 11-5 against the Reds.
Yes.
Big win.
Going. The Blacks lost 11-9 against the Whites. The Oranges won 9-2 against the Greens, and then we lost 9-4 against your Blues.
Super
Jack.
Blues.
And I have to admit, we really struggled in the first 10 minutes of that game. We just could not get anything going.
I think you
played really well, and
10,
I was kind of trying to get that across to the guys at half time, because I think we realised that it wasn't just because we were all over the place. We were a little bit unsettled, but I don't think it was necessarily that we played really badly. We just got one touched around the pitch.
Just everything worked.
It was.
And then the complete polar opposite for the second half. Yeah. You clearly tactically noticed what we were doing or trying to do, and sussed it out and shut up shop. Yeah,
basically. So
all the goals were scored in the first half, weren't they? There wasn't a single goal in the second half.
No, we did a much better job of it in the second. But but as I think we always say this, don't we? It's not necessarily about the pitch. If you can keep the pitch score close and you can enjoy the game as is, if you do your job on the scales, then as is, I'm sure the way this week. Although I haven't double checked down the list, that I'm sure there's a team who's won on the scales, and that's made them win overall despite losing on the pitch. I know we've had a couple of that this season already, and that's where it's at, isn't it?
Pretty common, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. But this week, I guess that's not the case, because all 4 matches saw the pitch winners also take the overall spoils. So more importantly, for the first time this season, all 8 teams managed to lose weight.
With
an impressive weekly club. Yeah. Week 3, was it?
Yeah. After Christmas, that's not bad.
Yeah, I think that's funny actually, because I was trying to wonder how many weeks it would take us to get back to even. We're not there yet. That's all I can say at the moment. But it was an impressive weekly club total, 31 kilos. So not too bad at all. Yeah. Lost. Whites made the biggest contribution to that tally, losing 6.7 kilos. Oranges and Blues weren't far behind, each losing more than 5 kilos.
You Blues.
Well, Yellows were just under that figure. So the Whites have now lost 4.4 over the course of the season, the only team so far to fully shake off their Christmas hangover and reach a collective loss.
That's crazy, isn't it?
Well done. Yeah, well done.
Good play. Well done.
Yeah. Reds are close to joining them, though, with just 0.4 kilo gain to their team, essentially, so far. Oranges also deserve a shout-out for the rare feat of having all 11 players not only turning up, but losing weight as well.
Wow.
This is extremely impressive. Very good. Yeah. No milestones to celebrate this week, and 11 hat tricks we had.
Cool. So that's the first time I've asked him.
Yeah, far fewer than week 3 of the season usually sees, but that's what starting season right after Christmas does for you, doesn't it? Really?
Avalanche this week, do you reckon?
Yeah, potentially. Yeah. Starting the season with 3 losses out of 3 in those circumstances is exceptional. So I'm not going to read all the names out, unfortunately, but
who were missed as well.
Yes, that's why I said 11 because the original says 9, and I know it's 11. It's not 9. Do you know what?
I thought the Blues had started.
We can go through them.
The Blues started. Yeah. We know.
I will read them for that sake. Go on, then. So Harry Reid and Josh Buxton.
There they are.
James Hunt, Jason Court, Matt Waterman, Jesus Ponce, Ollie Wentworth, Lewis Vaselina Turner, Paul Gibson, Matt Clist, and Adrian Hope.
Yes, AD.
Yeah, well done,
So
pretty epic.
Yeah, that's pretty good going in after Christmas. Yeah, 18 players went out of last man standing, leaving 45 still in the competition. Remember, the first batch of survivor goals will be triggered once we get to the last 30. So if you're still in the competition, you don't want to be the one who drops out and gives another team a chance to score at your expense. Is the stick we're going with.
Yeah.
I'm teasing, Steve. Sorry.
Stick to beat you in.
No, but it's a good stick anyway. It's an all-new team of the week, led by Tony Wright, who lost 2.3 kilos.
Wow, well done.
The 7 places are evenly spread, with 6 of our 8 teams represented, and only the Whites managing 2 players in the lineup. So, as follows, we had Tony Wright with 2.3, Dimmy lost 2.2.
Wow,
He's there again.
Yeah. John Logue lost 2 kilos. Steve Carlton lost 1.7. Liam Goodall lost 1.5.
Well done, Lee.
Myself, I lost 1.4, and then Mike
done.
Burt lost 1.3.
Yeah.
Josh
Yeah,
in the team of the week.
I had an unfair advantage. It was 2 weeks for me. Yeah, it was the
okay.
week before.
It's not the normal Josh that we like to see on that team of the week.
Yeah, exactly.
He'll be back.
Yeah. So another great week, taking another mighty bite out of our post-Christmas deficit. For the second week in a row, more than 50 men lost weight. That's 52 out of the 69 weighing in on week 69 of our pod as well, week 70. If you're counting,
Spooky.
which shows that lots of us are doing the right things and heading in the right direction. So it's all about good decisions and good choices on a day-to-day basis, as we always say. So let's keep doing what we're doing and changing things that changing things that aren't working for us and not changing things that are.
Yeah. I have to give a bit of a shout out to the Reds. I felt a bit for them. They had to take a last minute ringer because Sam unfortunately dropped out, and also he was their keeper. So Tony had to go in goal, and to be fair to him, he had a really good game in goal as well. First time stepping up and doing that. So a bit of a shame that they had a few players out. That certainly gave us a bit of an advantage, and it certainly could have been a few more had it not been for the heroics of Tony in goal. So well done to those boys.
They pushed you close as well, didn't they? When I turned up, it was nil for quite a while in the game, wasn't it?
Yeah. We had quite a few chances that we just couldn't put away, and then I got the first goal. I think got a nice
Winkle-toes.
Lovely little
Very
left
good
footed
goals.
jobby.
Jogs' goal was very good as well. The half volley one, just like an absolute rocket.
Yeah, nearly took my head off.
Beauty. Caught it just on that perfect bounce, didn't he?
Yeah. He has a knack of doing that, and they go like an arrow top bins, don't they? It's mental.
He literally just has to lift his foot up like 2 inches as well, and it's those calf muscles. You see people do like those dead jumps onto a box.
Yeah,
I bet he could jump higher than any of us like that.
Probably.
I guarantee you, his calf muscles. Did you ever watch Scrubs? You ever watch Scrubs?
Yeah, of course.
Not Dr. Cox. Dr. Kelso used to do it. He used to show off his calf. Jump out. Reminds me of Jogs. I reckon I bet he's
got zero backswing.
He would be an absolute animal on a bike as well. Like a sprint bike or something.
I wonder if he does much cycling. He
maybe. Might have been.
Might be doing a lot of cycling, or might have done a lot of cycling.
Yeah. But very, very good. Very good. And
I noticed you didn't say the ones you missed though, Ben.
I only missed a couple. They were saved. Tony saved them.
Oh yeah, I think one of them was like an open goal, wasn't it, Ben?
No, I never miss an open goal. I missed a header.
I'm teasing.
I'm more likely to hit the post than anything else. So
honestly, your goal was
was
fantastic.
Yeah.
Proper twinkle toes, like dancing around people, mate. I was very impressed.
Yeah. Thanks, mate.
Rolling back the years.
It was.
Yeah. He didn't shout for himself being in the area, though. When we were on the edge of the
I was nowhere near the bloody area.
I'm just needling you now,
Proper
Ben.
wind up now, yeah.
I was waiting for Alex to put out for something. He normally does.
You were good, mate. You were great, mate, to be fair. It was a good game to watch. Really good.
It was a
really good game.
Good fun.
And they all are, to be fair. Especially when we're in the last game and I'm sitting there on the sideline watching them all. It's always good games. Always good games.
I must admit, it was the first game back I felt absolutely fine. And I said that to Ryan, and Ryan was like, it actually showed. I appreciate you guys giving me man of the match. He's like, it showed, it looked like you. I've had like that fear-free kind of playing rather than playing with myself. And it always makes a difference as well. I'm very, very lucky to have Ryan, Harry, and Jordan on the same team as me as well, obviously. And then you've got Josh Buxton slamming goals in like he does as well. Like he's become so reliable. Tuesday night down here, he was something else again, like close control and touch. And then you've got Russ's effort, Rob non-stop runner, was so lucky, and then Adam goal and Con at the back.
Yeah,
a really strong team.
Strong team, mate. Strong team, and you're still top of the league. 3 games in, 3 undefeated.
Yes, that's the plan to keep going. I think we're trying to scratch around. It's not just me playing games as well. We're scratching around for milestones a little bit because Josh has done his already. I think. Yeah. For this season. No, he can't have. No, he need 2, doesn't he? He can have 1 more.
How many did he roll over?
1.
Does that matter?
Did he roll any over?
Yeah, he rolled 1 over.
He rolled 1 over.
He rolled 1 over and then got 1 first week.
Yeah.
Oh, so then he can't get any more.
So he's done for milestones then for the season.
And you know what? I told him to fuck himself as well because he's not going to be on the Blues next season either. So we're not going to be in the same team. Shuffle next season, isn't it? I don't care anymore, Josh.
How quickly the allegiance
you can go. Formed. I'm not interested. Who's next? Who else is going to churn out milestones for us? But yeah, it is. You kind of look around and go, we're all a little bit off it at the moment, and not necessarily off it in terms of how we're doing, but off that next milestone.
Yeah.
So it's keeping that momentum.
I'd be surprised though, like if you get week 7, 8, 9, whatever it is down the season, I think you'd be surprised if you keep chipping away how close you'll actually get.
I'd be interested to see, Ben. You probably know relatively closer than anybody, Steve from Czech. In terms of milestones in the seasons that you've won. It'd be interesting to see what the average milestones per season the winning team have had. Because it makes such a difference, don't they? They can really swing a game.
Do you know what? It's really difficult because you can have. It's usually about where they fall.
It's about a bit of luck.
So when in the season when they fall, because there is that luck element, but also we had situations where we hit milestones and lost, and that's a real kicker. That's when you think you've done enough. And then the other team get 2 more milestones or get an extra milestone or get one you're not sure about. That's when it really hurts. But I think you've got to have a good handful. I mean, there's obviously if you've got people in maintenance, you've got real bonuses. If you've got 2 or 3 players or even 1 or 2 players who hit 2 milestones in a season, you're going to be unlucky not to win those games. So it would be quite interesting to see actually. I mean, as far as I'm aware, Steve's got all of the results from when we started and the league, so it would be quite interesting to go back and analyse stats and see who's won what and how they've kind of done it. Because I think there's of course there's a certain amount of luck in there, but you don't win a season purely on luck.
No.
Like for example, we got lucky against the Reds because they lost a few players, and they had to have a ringer in the end. So had that not been the case, that would have been probably a very different game. So we've rode our luck there, but you've definitely got to have a couple of people. I think if I look at the seasons that my teams have won, there's been at least 2 people, if not 3, who are hitting their milestones in a season, and we're doing well on the pitch.
Yeah,
because they do top up sometimes.
Definitely a recipe in there.
I don't know. I know we talk that it's all about weight loss, and of course it is. But the pitch is the fun bit and the kind of the bit that's really quite competitive from a sort of bragging rights point of view. But I don't know any team that's won the league and not been half decent on the pitch. It does contribute. If you're getting pumped on the pitch each week, I know we talk about weight, but sometimes you can't overturn that with weight. You could win the weight loss league and get pumped on the pitch league, but you won't win the main league. You've got to have a good balance to do the main league.
Yeah. It demoralises you as well, doesn't it? If you're getting humped on the pitch.
And that can affect you.
They go hand in hand, don't they?
Absolutely. Yeah. And I really feel for the Greens at the moment because they've done so well. They're playing really well on the pitch. They're doing well on weight loss. They've just been really unlucky.
Yeah.
And that's at the start of the season, and that can demoralise you. So my shout out to them boys is just keep going because their time will come.
Yeah, definitely. Anything else?
Well, we can do an update if you want on the goals and assists and belts.
Let's do that. Rattle through
the
them.
Belts. Yeah.
We'll chuck through the belts quickly. So for the lightweight category, Gareth Hensby still leads the way. We mentioned that
He
was
lose
gonna be
another
hard
3
to
kilo
catch.
this week.
No, he didn't.
He's starting to chop off fingers. I noticed he's missing a few.
It does look different.
Steward's inquiry. fingers and toes need to be counted.
Anyway, he's 3.6, so he leads the lightweight. Robbo, 2.3.
Oh, it's going to be a battle, those two, isn't it?
And then Brian Daly, 1.8 in the lightweight as well.
Nice.
Middleweight, James Scott still leads, 3.3.
Good lad, and
That's
he's injured, so he's not playing. So
Yeah, I was going to say, but Jordan Hayter came a long way and from last week. I don't think his name was on the list last week for at least top 3 anyway. So he's lost 3 kilos now.
Has he?
Oh, well done, mate.
He did put on. He won't mind me saying as well. He put on 5 after Christmas.
Yeah. Good lad.
If he can write that wrong, he's going to do it right, isn't he? 5 kg down.
Yeah. 2.9 kilos then next with Adam White. So
Yeah,
that's a
nice.
close
Oh,
one.
what an ad.
0.4 between first.
How does Adam keep going?
I know, right?
Barely any of him left.
Yeah. Heavyweight, Dimmy leads on 2.2.
Nice, Dimmy.
Oh.
And then Oscar with 2 kilos and Ryan Broadbank with 1.9. So there's only 1.3. 0.3, sorry, in the top 3 of that.
Yeah.
So
And how many weeks left? 2?
Yes.
Or
So
2?
yes. So your week 5 weigh-in, which is essentially will be the deciding weigh-in essentially. So you got this week, and then whatever you
And then
weigh
next
off
week.
from week 5, it's the count between
Yeah, it's your
what
cumulative
your weighing
amount,
week 1 is to week 5.
Nice.
Cumulative.
Nice.
Essentially, they're ready and waiting.
Yeah, exciting.
In terms of the pitch stuff, Ollie Wentworth, I thought he almost scored another hat trick this week, but he didn't. Sorry, Ollie. He did only
He's got
score
a bad
1.
ankle.
Yeah, I know. But he still scored.
I know.
So he leads the goal charts with 5 goals this season.
He's flying.
He's not fucking around, is it?
Dom Jogs
No.
and Jordan then are tied second for 4.
That's
goals.
a battle, isn't it? Those 3. Wow.
And then Alex Jones and Rob Hodge on 3.
Yes.
Yeah, good.
In terms of the assists, I've just got to make sure I've got my column all sorted, if I can actually sort it out. I believe, if it actually lets me do it, I believe Ruben leads that.
Does he?
Yes.
And they say Ruben doesn't pass.
So Ruben leads that one with 4 assists,
Oh.
3 of which I think he got this week.
Okay.
And then Jordan with 3 assists.
Yeah.
So I say 4 assists for Ruben. Yeah, 3 assists for Jord.
Where am I?
Dom, yourself, Harry, John Costa, and Michael Pearson have 2.
Yeah, I think that's about right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I believe that means that Jordan is up there for the
Most
total goal
involvement.
involvement.
Goal involvements, yeah.
Yes. So he leads the goal involvements. Then you've got Dom. So he's got 7. Sorry. Then Dom, Ollie have got 6 each, and then Ruben and Jogs have got 5 each.
Yeah, nice.
Oh, good.
Lovely.
Racking up already, isn't it? Christ.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say. I wonder if anyone can break 15 a season on goals.
Yeah, I reckon there's a chance they will this season.
Yeah. So that one's
Injury free.
hotting up.
That's it, yeah. So Ben, you got some bits that you want to talk about, based off.
Yeah.
I'll let you take lead on it actually, rather than me saying any more.
Yeah, so it's just something that I picked up on this week in the chat. Our dear friend Jimmy, we know, who is obviously from the 23 MPH podcast, is struggling a little bit at the moment with sort of motivation, and he's got a few things going on. He won't mind me saying in his kind of work life and personal life, and he's struggling with the whole Man for Fat journey. And he put something in the Man for chat group chat, and a couple of people jumped on that. And Sam's also come out and said that he's struggling a little bit. And it just reminded me of how we can help our own behaviours and our own feelings. Because people are reaching out going, I don't know what to do. I've done this, I've done that, and it's still not working for me. I don't feel happy. I don't know what to do. So it just got me thinking. And I remembered a thing called the 6 human needs. Have you ever heard of that?
Never.
No. I'll be
Never?
honest.
Okay. So it's something that's used quite a lot in sort of corporate training stuff, and it's about how people kind of evaluate their lives and how they can go about changing. And people often say that the only thing that you're in control of throughout your whole life really is your behavior and the way you conduct yourself because everything else is out of your control. So, the only thing you can look at is your own behavior. So there are 6 basic needs that we have as individuals, and we can do a little test which gauges where we're at for those things. So I'll tell you what they are. Okay, so firstly, there's certainty. Okay, and this kind of measures how you feel about having assurance or avoiding pain and gaining pleasures, safety and security, and that can be in all sorts of things. If you don't like uncertainty, you like to know exactly what's around the corner. There's variety, whether you like to have, that you don't like to have the same thing for dinner every day. You might want to have something different every day, and other people have to have the same thing every day. Like some people have to have exactly the same thing for breakfast. Other people might like a complete change every day. The other one is significance, and that is about feeling unique, or if you're valued, or you feel important, or you feel special or needed by other people. And the next one is connection or love, and that's a strong feeling of closeness or union with someone or something. So it might be that you I don't know, you love football, for example, and if you don't get any football, then you're lacking in that area of your life. The fifth one is growth, and that's about how much you need to grow, and it could be in anything. It could be whether you need to grow in your career. It could be whether you need to grow at being better at golf. It could be, anything, being better at football, or you might not want to do any of that. You might be quite happy sat in front of the TV, not wanting to do anything. And the last one is contribution, and that is about how you gauge yourself in society and what you contribute to, whether it be you've got a sense of service or focus or helping others or giving support to others. Okay, so they're the kind of 6 human needs that we all have, and we gauge how much we need them. And I just did a little test today to see where I'm at with mine, and basically it came out that I was slightly lower than the average on certainty. So that basically means that I am okay with a bit of change. I'm happy for things to change or be a bit different from time to time, but I still need to have a bit of certainty. So I still like to know, what's going on that day or what's going on that week, or whether I've got a holiday booked, anything like that. I'm not just free and easy. Slightly below the average on significance, so I'm quite comfortable. I don't feel like I need to assert myself more to try and get my point across or get people to notice me. Love and connection, I'm slightly above the average in that I'm quite a loving and caring person. I suppose that's how it's come out, more so than the average anyway. The next one, growth, I'm a slightly above average again on that, in which I thrive off learning. I thrive off doing new things. I know that I'm on a journey and I want to improve myself. That's the kind of thing. Uncertainty or variety, I'm down on average, and that basically means that I'm okay with a little bit of variety. I'm happy to change things up a bit. I'm not stuck in my ways where I have to have things all of the time. My contribution is much higher though than average, which means I am keen to contribute to whatever it may be, helping other people, or helping people at work, or helping my kids learn, that kind of stuff. And this is a really, really good tool for you to do yourself, so that you can look at yourself and say to yourself, what is it that I need to make me happy? This is basically a tool to work out what it is that makes you tick and what is missing in your life. So if you can do the little test and just have a look and then gauge it against what you're doing. So it might be that you look at your life and how your life is now and how that compares to what your 6 human needs are. You can look at it and go, well, I clearly need growth. That's something that's important to me. It's something that makes me tick. But I don't have that at the moment. I'm not doing anything that is helping me grow as a person or my interests or whatever. So I need to address that area of my life. And if you can do that, and it just gives you a chance to look at it, stand back, look at it and go, what's missing? Why am I unhappy? Why am I not ticking properly? What can I do to improve it? And if you can pinpoint it, you can work on it and hopefully improve your situation. And it's a really interesting thing to do, and it's really worth doing. If you've never heard of it, it's really worth looking into. It was by a guy called Tony Robbins, He's an inspirational speaker and comes up with all these different ideas. But it's really, really interesting, because if there's something lacking in your life, or there's something you can't focus on anything, do the test. Have a little look and see what it says you need or what you strive for. And if you haven't got that in your life, look at where you can add it in, or change something. And you might find that actually the scale starts to tip a little bit, and it puts you back on track.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Amazing.
That's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny because I have heard of this, but just under a different moniker before. So when you said, "Oh, have you heard of it?" I was like, I don't think so, but I have. So I have. I'm pretty certain I've done this before, actually.
You may well have done it.
Yeah,
it's used quite a lot in corporate training for behavioural,
Yeah.
for basically. I mean, we talk about respect and how people should respect and how you should treat people the way they wish to be treated, it's really difficult to do that unless you talk to people, because you can't possibly know how someone wants to be treated until you speak to them and get to know them. I mean, people say you should treat people the way you like to be treated, but you may well like to be treated very differently to the way I like to be treated. So you can never make that assumption. So this is kind of a tool to do that. You can look at people and go, well, they clearly need a bit of significance because they're talking very loud and they're trying to be very assertive and they're trying to put their marker down. So they obviously need a lot of significance. Or that guy's really unkeen on change, doesn't he try and change it, not happy about change, doesn't want anything to change, likes everything to be just so they need a lot of certainty. Do you know what I mean? So you can use it to look at people and understand the way they feel. But my point is, it's a really good self-help tool. You can look at it, answer the questions, and see where you're at and see where you need to change things to make yourself a bit more balanced. And I've done it before, and it really does help. So anyone out there basically who's struggling a little bit, they've lost their way, and I'm not just talking about the people that have spoken up and sort of said they're struggling, and kudos to them for doing that, because it's never easy to do that. But anyone who might feel that they're kind of just sort of waning off the beaten track and need a bit of focus, I urge you to just have a look at it and do the little test and see where you're at and see where you might be able to make little changes in your life to get you back on track again. So 6 human needs. Give it a look.
Very good, mate. It reminds me of something I did in a very corporate environment, funny enough, across the road, when my first proper job at Rias as in call center. It was called Flying Colours, and it was a lot of questions that help you identify what colour you are. So everybody's a built up amount of colours, and red is fiery, aggressive, direct. Green was considered like loving and tree hugging and that kind of thoughtful thing.
Yeah.
And off the back of that, I was taught the cigar module. So one thing that would be worth considering doing is, once you go through what you've done there with your test, is if it kind of identifies something for you, the cigar module is current, ideal, gaps, actions, results. So you look at your current, and then you look at your ideal, and then you identify your gaps, you create your actions, and there is your result. And that's the idea behind it. So it kind of
similar sort of thing,
walk you through that process. So if you have something, I do it with my kids all the time. They get frustrated, they build up this frustration, they want something, they can't articulate it properly, or they want it and they can't get it. I sit there without them realizing, I kind of go, so where are we now? Where do we need to be? How does that look? How are we going to get there? What steps can we take to get there? And I think it's such that there's so many self-help videos and techniques and things like that you can easily get lost in them. But the one, exactly what you've explained there, sounds ideal for what we're in, where we're at. And because there is a level of in what we're doing with being heavier and unhealthier than we are, there's a lot of self-hate and self-deprecation that goes on, that you need an outlet, you need something that can help you. And if you can find that one thing, that one golden ticket that can help you go 6 months, 12 months, 18 months, whatever it may be, that you've not used it, and you go back to this moment and you go back through that test again, you remind me of my fundamentals, the key things that I want to think of and focus on, that can make such a difference. And Jim won't mind me saying, like I said in the chat, I think I said chin up, bitch tits or something like that. But I think my style with somebody that is a bit down and a bit groggy is, you get one person that puts their arm around them, and you get one person that's going to be quite straight with them and honest with them. And neither is good or bad against each other. Do you know what I mean? People have different styles of dealing with it. And I think my style, having managed people for a long time and coached people for a long time, my style is dig deep. Let's work out how you're going to get out of this.
Yeah.
Others may take you back to a point where you reevaluate it or go for it or do it all and live those difficult times again. I think personally what I like to do is draw a line and go, right, that's happened. Like you said earlier, you can only control the controllables. Focus on what you can do. Everything else around you will happen regardless.
Yeah.
And then focus on you. You make the difference that you make, and then move on from there. And I was like, think about why you want to lose weight. Think about your family. Think about the important things that mean the most to you as your fundamental, as your baseline. And if you still feel shit from that point, then there's a level of professional help that will help you understand and kind of go through counselling. But if you can use that golden moment to go, fuck yeah, this is why I do this is what I want to do, and this is why I turn up every Friday to do it, it'll make such a difference. And I'm sure like Jim, we all have those moments, whether they're outward moments where he's got the courage and the ability to step up and say, boys, I need some help, or whether we all have those insecure self-doubt moments where you go, oh fucking hell, this is really tough, this is really hard. Everybody deals with it differently, don't they? And I think that's the important thing. Everybody's different, everybody's going through it. And it's not to diminish you going through it or somebody else going through it, but it's to know that you're surrounded by people that want to help and are willing to help. And I think the big thing is that he's got a good support network, not just in the whole chat, but the Man v Fat, like Carl's joining in and chiming in, which is really good. And he's somebody that we all know well enough from the stories he's told us on the podcast that we've listened. He's been through some tough times and had to dig deep and rediscover himself and find those important things that mean the most to him. So that's really powerful, Ben, mate. Really, really good. I love it.
Well, even if it hurts,
you had us both sat here in absolute silence listening to that. It was really, really, really good, mate. Well done.
Us delivering corporate training to the masses.
I just remembered it, and I really loved it when I heard it for the first time, and I kind of, it really helped me, because you just have to, if you're kind of wandering through life, and we all sometimes get a bit lost and we don't really know what to do. It's really good to just take stock of how you're feeling and why you're feeling that way and what you can do to change it. So like I said, it could be anything. It could be that you're not getting enough love in your life, and I don't mean like sexual love, or it might just be that you're not getting a lot of appreciation from people, and that's important to you. So you have to try and do something to change that, to affect that, because that will make you feel much better. It can be anything, but it just gives you a sort of a temperature check of where you are and why you're unhappy, and what can make you, what might help you to make yourself feel better. So if it helps anyone, then happy days. Take it or leave it. Do you know what I mean?
I'll do that test and we'll come back next week.
Debrief. I'll tell you what as well.
Where I'm at. I'll share. I'm happy to share.
If you can share that link, Ben.
I'll give you the link.
What we'll do is when we put the podcast in the group tomorrow, the link for tomorrow, we'll put it at the bottom up there as well.
I'll put it in the descriptions and that as well, so it'll be readily available.
Great.
Cool. Amazing.
Get on.
I'm interested to know.
Hey Ben, thank you very much for delivering that corporate training to us, and I joke, but genuinely is thank you. It's something that, to be honest, I'm sure there are many tools out there that can help people in many scenarios that maybe we're just unaware of. Completely unaware of. And so if we can bring anything like that, then it's very useful. So I will take said test and come back next week, as I said, and we'll go from there.
See what it says.
Fill you in, unless it's ridiculous, of course. I'd be super embarrassed about it, in which case keep it to myself.
Ironically, I think it's a bit of food for thought for us, and I just while I thought of that, that is a hell of a name for a podcast, for somebody doing Man v Fat. Food for thought.
Food for thought. Well, don't give people ideas, man. We're going to have too much competition. Is that right?
Competition is good.
Yes.
Competition is good. Sweet. In terms of the footballing world, what do we want to talk about?
Well,
cherries?
we want to talk. We talked about cherries quite a bit last week. We do want to talk about them again briefly. After their absolute destruction of what everyone was labelling as a Champions League potential tip in Nottingham Forest at the weekend. And it really was, and it really was just emphatic, wasn't it? I mean, you were there, Jack.
I was, yeah. So within like the first 30 seconds, I think Forest probably should have scored. I can't remember who the left winger is.
Alanga, is it?
Alanga, yes, yeah. He probably should have scored. He put it just wide, and from our angle, the net rippled, and I thought, bloody hell, they've straight down and scored. But from that point, it did have spells in the game that they inserted some dominance, but Chris Wood didn't register a shot on target, so that gives you an idea of how
it's rare,
how poor they were. There was the fella behind me sat in this, like literally a seat behind me, banging on to his mate about his builder bet that he'd done. And he had Clive at the score, he had Dango to score, I think he had Lewis Cook got booked, I think it was a Lewis Cook booking.
Blimey.
And a few other bits and pieces. And that Jota Silva fella, the fake Jack Grealish guy. He was getting battered for that as well. He was just a sheer Jack Grealish. I'm sure he gets it everywhere. Short socks and like a Alice band with hair like Grealish. I don't know what you're expecting. And he was like, all I need is a Chris Wood shot on target. And this was at 5-0. He's like, I can't believe Chris Wood still hasn't had a shot on target.
No, you'd think that's a pretty safe bet, wouldn't you?
Yeah, just get a corner. Let him just have a header straight into Kepa's hands. I'll be happy. And yeah, poor guy. I think it was like for 500 quid as well. So he was a little distraught. But the game on the whole was just, the atmosphere was incredible. I've been there for some special moments with promotions and other bits and pieces, but the atmosphere was pretty special then. There is a little bit of needle between Forest fans and Bournemouth fans. There always has been. The recent history definitely around as a cancelled game because of weather, but Bournemouth had loads of injuries, so the Forest fans were convinced they'd done it on purpose and all of this bollocks.
Right.
And they're generally just not likeable fan base from what I've seen online and everything.
They are one of them clubs, aren't they?
Let's not get into the weeds of that.
Bar Matt Clift. Bar Matt Clift.
Clifty will be on you, yeah.
Yeah, well, don't worry, I'll be on him, giving him some shit about losing 5-0. But the performance was just out of this world. And to do it off the back of the Newcastle performance,
yeah,
and to do it off the back of the spotlight was on Bournemouth because of how well they played against Newcastle. They're not hiding anymore. Like, they were creeping up that table. We all knew where they were because we keep an eye on them and support them. But I think it was more everybody stood up and paid attention. They were first on match of the day. They absolutely blew them away and roll on this Saturday for Liverpool.
Well, this is it. This is going to be an interesting game because, you know, Forest have turned over some big teams.
Yeah.
So yeah, exactly. Yeah, I know, but you know, Forest have done the big teams, or what you would call the big teams, and then to get pumped 5-0 by Bournemouth, Bournemouth are going into this Liverpool game. Well, they're not going. They can't be going as favourites, surely, but they're going to be. No. They're going to be fancied, I would imagine.
Probably the shortest odds they've probably ever been to play Liverpool at home, I imagine.
Yeah, at home as well. You know, I mean. It wouldn't surprise me if they did it, mate. It wouldn't surprise me if they won. I don't think they'll do them 5-0, but it wouldn't surprise me if they sneak a win, playing the way they are.
Yeah. Well, I think it's the hope that kills you, as we say, isn't it? The optimism of it there. But I think after the last two results, you can say even some Liverpool fans are going to be worried. A little bit worried, you know, because of how they've been playing. And you consider, we talk about injuries all the time, don't we? Like, all the time. Loads of clubs have got injuries. Ange might lose his job because of injuries. But you've got people like Bournemouth who are turning people over with however many first-team players out at the moment. Yeah. And as we said last week on the pod, that just shows the unity of the group and as a team kind of coming together. Yeah. And that's what you need to be successful. And they're proving it at the moment, aren't they? Really,
that's rooted deeper. That sort of behaviour of the team is rooted deeper in the club, and what's really good is that the club, the newer players, the players that have joined Areola, all get it in terms of that unity of we've got the smallest stadium in the ground in the Premier League, we get shit for it, but we go with it. Teams turn up and we give them a hard game. We really go for it.
Yeah, it's that community feel, isn't it? Community club.
Yeah. That disappeared through the Parker times. I'm sure the regulars, I'm sure the season ticket holders, the Tyndall and the Parker and some of the O'Neill time, a lot of that unity and that feeling of us against the world disappeared a little bit.
Yeah.
Where Eddie had worked so hard getting that in, and obviously the first promotion, everything was plastered stronger. We're stronger together, and stronger together is the key strap line that they always live by. And it was an us against the world kind of. We shouldn't be here. Our stadium says we shouldn't be here, but we're here, and we'll give you a game.
Yeah.
And there has been some memorable games against Liverpool in the history. That big comeback over Christmas once at Dean Court was pretty memorable. I think Aki scoring the winner. Ryan Fraser coming on, changing the game. Yeah. He came on. I think he scored. I think he got an assist and then ran Milner ragged and won a penalty or something. I vaguely remember it. I try to black out every memory of that little prick there is. But yeah, it's amazing, and I can't. I know I've said. Pot, I'm away that week. Shampoo and the goldfish that week. And it is. I've said a couple of times why this weekend's important. I'm thoroughly looking forward to it personally because of my nephew being a mascot for Liverpool, but also thoroughly looking forward to the game because of what it means for so many reasons. Yeah. My mum, my dad, my brother's mother-in-law's going, his sister-in-law's going, loads of the family are going. So it's going to be very interesting. And my dad had his head in his hands. My mum was like, "Oh, I'd quite like Liverpool to win," and I'd quite like Liverpool to win for Alfie. And they were like, "No, like he's having a good enough day as it is. Like he's going to be in the away end with his dad, belting out his fucking Liverpool songs that he knows every word to. It's him." You need to go and support Bournemouth. Mum's having none of it. She's like, I quite like Liverpool.
But I think, by the way, we was just saying, like on the community club, I think it's a big thing that Bill Foley's actually managed to keep. And I think, in some respects, I give him some credit because you have to imagine if you come in, quite a lot of clubs think when they get to the Premier League they have to evolve as a club and go the way of what most other Premier League clubs do in order to be successful.
Yeah,
I think Bournemouth and teams like Brighton and that as well have proven you actually don't need to do that to be successful. How successful you can be on that is yet to be determined, I guess. But I think it's huge credit to that.
He has got away with a little bit of money grabbing.
I know. I'm not saying he's been perfect.
No, but he's got away with it because the investment that they've shown.
Yeah.
Obviously, every time Bournemouth mention, how well they're doing, every pundit is like, you do realise they've spent this much money, 150 million in the last 2 summer transfer windows. And I'm like, that's fair. That's a fair observation. But what he had done, and I think his mantra was, I need to prove that me kind of ramping up the amount of hospitality seats we sell it may very well be something you don't like the look of, but do you want your team to be successful? Because this is the way that I see it. This is the path that I see the business needs to take for the club to be successful. And I think that's proven. The proof is in the pudding with it. And I think the flip side of it, and I know I love to bash Spurs, but in this case I feel sorry for them because they're in the top 10 in the world for profitability and revenue income, but they're outside of the top 20 based on the percentage of what they're spending on the squad in terms of transfers and wages. So what they're earning is not being put back into the club. It's being put back into the pitch success. And there's a lot of shit thrown. I think it's past people booing Ange, and what I don't think they want Ange out. Back now. They want the ownership model to change because I think, as painful as it is for me, I do find it hilarious that they're not doing particularly well. Ange is onto a good thing. I don't think he's a particularly bad coach. He's had a real rough time with it.
That's hard for you to say as well, yeah.
Backed by the board. But it's not a coincidence that Conte's said the same thing. Mourinho said the same thing.
I think all of the same. Yeah, all the managers
said the same thing.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. But yeah, I think that covers the little bits and pieces in terms of the weekend for Bournemouth coming up. Bonn coming up. I think that covers that.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. Looking forward to it. How about QPR, Ben? 2 minutes on that?
I put the bloody mockers on it, didn't I? I felt sorry. I felt really bad, and I should have caveated. By the way, don't anyone back them to beat Sheffield Wednesday because they end up bloody losing, which was a bit of a ball ache. But I tell you what, there's a lot of movement in the transfer window we're bringing in a fair few players. We're in for a fair few players, which is not like us. So I can only think that they are genuinely going to try for a push for the playoffs. We've got a lone lad in from another loanee from Tottenham. We're looking at a lad coming over from
He's meant to be
Perth.
quite good. I can't remember his name. What's his name?
He's a Japanese lad.
Yes. No, I think he's Korean. I think he was
Oh,
recommended.
he might be
Son.
Korean. Yeah.
I think he was recommended by Son. I remember seeing here it is. Don't dare. Oh, it's just Yang. I think he's a striker. Yeah, and he was recommended by Son to the club. Yeah. And I think he's rated pretty high.
Yeah. So we're getting a few loan players in. I don't know if we're buying anyone, but we're certainly looking. There's like players who, and like I actually did call it last week when I said that players are attracted to us because we're doing quite well, and they'll get game time. So it's quite interesting to see what will happen come the end of the window and see where we're at. But last week was a bit of a blip. I think we still played quite well. I think our stats were really quite high and our possession was high, and we just didn't have enough in front of goal, I don't think. But yeah, of course there's me going, yeah, we're doing really well, and then bosh, we lose. Standard. Could have called it.
Well, I keep going then, mate, innit? It's not like you're going to slip all the way back down, I wouldn't have thought, is it?
No, I think we're pretty safe now. So, and that was our goal to start this season. So anything above 20th is good for us, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. On the United front, you've got a left back coming in, haven't you?
Yes. So Patrick Dorgu, who's a Danish international. Yeah. I don't know anything about him. Let's be honest. I don't know much about him at all. I don't think many people do. I just know he's extremely. He's along the lines of the thing that people moan about is he's very athletic. So he's kind of, as in one thing that Man United lack is athleticism. Okay. Essentially.
I see what you mean.
So he's extremely athletic in terms of he's very strong, he's very powerful, he's very fast. I think he's a little raw. I think he probably needs his technical ability. He's probably not top notch, essentially, from what I can understand. But he will give legs to the team, essentially. And he's pretty flexible. So although he's right-footed, he plays left wing back and right wing back and left wing, right wing, etc. Has done consistently. I think the idea is to play him left back, left wing back.
Okay, bit of
intention.
Milos Kirketh about him then.
Yeah. But so I think I think that's the intention, is to play him left wing back.
Yeah.
Because let's be honest. Oh yeah, and I saw, which was quite funny, that as soon as he was announced to play, Luke Shaw was pictured in first team training.
Was he now?
Hilarious.
Going to make his rare appearance to return.
The guy thrives when he's got competition. Yeah. So anyway, so we'll see on that one. But yeah, he's come in. I think they signed someone from Arsenal, didn't they? Or signed someone out of Arsenal's grasp?
Yeah.
Or they signed someone from Arsenal. Youngster. I read somewhere that they were actually, that's meant to be a first team signing.
What's his name?
Heaven or something.
Heaven, yeah, Aiden Heaven, yeah. Very good, very highly rated centre back for Arsenal. That I think you took one of the other youngsters the year before as well. That's meant to be very, very good.
Yeah, forward.
And I think there's a model at Arsenal that they won't pay them any more than a certain amount, and I think they're starting to realise that they can get what they want sooner elsewhere. Yeah. So he's by no means ready to go into a first team. I think he played 2 pre-seasons for Arsenal in the States. Looked okay, but I think he's a little way off starting, but he may very well come good.
Yeah.
And obviously we've got Arsenal bidding last night for the Watkins.
I saw that. I was absolutely genuinely astonished.
I was astonished.
What's that about? Duran?
No, so Duran going to that's hilarious. 75 million euros. I mean, what? I saw him score a couple of goals. Clearly, Saudis love it, don't they?
That Duran transfer has derailed Arsenal's chance of getting Watkins.
Yeah, because he turned it down, hasn't he?
Turned down bid. And I just it's because of the timing, mate. It's nothing. He would go, but it's the timing.
I think you're right.
And actually,
and I think that's why they did it. I think Arsenal were probably waiting and gone. He's on the list of somebody that we would take. And then they obviously see, like we do, Fabrizio Romano going Duran's agreed personal terms with Al Shalal or whatever they are, and Arsenal gone. Fuck, that means they ain't going to sell us Watkins. I wonder if we can get a bid in now for them to go. Actually, we can get 60 million for a 29-year-old and keep our 21-year-old. Is he 21, Duran?
Yeah.
Young, but I think his mind was made up, and I'd be very surprised if Arsenal get him now. I can't see why Villa, with 2 days left to the transfer window, would let their other striker go.
No chance.
Unless they get this Mateus Tell guy fellow.
Oh yeah, I mean he's been as soon as he said he wants to leave Bayern and they're agreeing to let him go and potentially permanently.
Yeah.
He's been loads of teams. I was reading earlier, by the way. We were talking about him earlier. Out of 7 or 8 Premier League clubs, he might go to Spurs.
Yeah, 50 million apparently they're
offered
as cash. Yeah.
Now they're starting to spend some money.
Yeah, that's Levy's blueprint of buying some, isn't it? Waiting to the 11:59 on transfer deadline, going, "We'll give you 50 million for him."
Yeah. Anyway, so he might end up at Spurs, but I don't know much about the guys.
Bournemouth are allegedly one of that 7 as well.
Really are, yeah. I mean, the thing is,
if
you're telling you're at Bayern Munich, I love Bournemouth with all my heart, but they're not going to get. They're not going to get.
I love the ambition.
I do like that ambition. Don't get me wrong.
It's the type of person that probably would see them get on loan rather than a permanent.
Yeah.
But I think Bayern Munich would prefer and apparently it also works for Bayern Munich well because they still owe Spurs money for Kane.
Oh right.
So they can offset some of that back to that deal.
That makes it
So
more likely. I think the thing is London's quite a big draw, isn't it? Really.
Yeah,
I think Arsenal would be a bigger draw than Spurs. Don't get me at this moment in time, but London in general is quite a big draw.
This is the second season of Kane being at Bayern Munich, isn't it?
Yes.
So you'd think if they had a good scouting system, you've got a really good young striker, we're selling you a striker. Why don't we do cash and striker deal?
Yeah.
Instead, we'll pay you 50 million in a year's time for him when they probably could have got him for 10.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That screams
and then they
naivety to me.
Well, they took your money for Slanky, didn't they? So.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. Yeah, you could have. I'm not suggesting he's at that level, but then Solanke's gone from Bournemouth no injuries to 2 setbacks already at Spurs. Something in the water there.
It's a funny thing about transfers, isn't it? Especially in January, like PSR gets in the way quite a bit. We know that with a lot of clubs. And I know I read a month ago or so that they'd all passed it from last week or something, this last season or something. None of them. There's no sanctions essentially on anyone. But I know that clubs will be running it really, really, really close.
Yeah.
And then you hear about all these clubs running it really close, and they suddenly spring out of nowhere and start spending money, and you just think to yourself, it's a bit like the whole. I think Arsenal must have money to spend on someone.
They do.
Like a forward, they're just waiting for that £100 million they can chuck at someone for a forward. You know, and it's like
I'm sure I said last week. There's a specialist on Talk Sport, PSR specialist guy that looks. Obviously, all of the accounts are published, aren't they? So he's able to work out the difference between what they've spent and what they're able to do. And he's suggesting that Spurs have got in the region of 200 million to spend.
Yeah,
they could spend 200 million tomorrow and still be within the restrictions.
Wow.
Arsenal sit about 125. I think Chelsea sit at about 90.
Yeah.
Amazingly, somehow after spending $1 billion on players over the last 2 years.
7 or 10 year contracts.
Exactly. Yeah. So
realistically, though, boys. Realistically, though, where are you going to pick up a striker
in January
that can hit the ground running?
There are so few just strikers you'd want to pick up anyway.
Yeah.
Across the globe in general. Let alone,
Benjamin
Sesko's one.
But they're not going to let him go
quite a bit.
Osman's trouble though, isn't he?
Yeah, he's trouble. He's a diva. But it's not just, if you want someone in like that kind of thing. I don't know. Everyone seems to want a striker.
Well, of course. Yeah.
Everybody. Why does everyone want a striker? Because Haaland's come to the Premier League and hit the ground running.
Exactly.
2 years ago, everyone was happily playing a false 9 and a big striker didn't fucking exist.
Yeah.
Chris Wood and Haaland proving everybody wrong.
Well, Isak.
It's all Isak as well. It's all trends, isn't it? Trends. And, like fashion, it will be in and out, picking up, and it will be back round again.
That whole thing about defenders buying big, strong defenders and playing 5 centre backs or 4 centre backs across your back four, which Arsenal do now, but Man City kind of really started it. Being a little bit more, and I'm sure that will come back in fashion as well. Being a little bit harder to beat, a little bit stronger, a little bit more physical, a little bit less, probably a little less creative, and maybe the pointy end, But I don't know. We'll see. Trends, isn't it? I just think it's quite funny that clubs are kind of saying they're on the PSR limit. And, we were saying just before the pod, like Champions League tickets for Aston Villa at £96 a ticket. It's absolute extortion when you could fly to the San Siro and watch a game for less than that.
Yeah, it's mad.
And I think to myself, and then all clubs raising prices, and it's just
96 quid for a ticket is like London price.
Yeah. it's ridiculous in my mind that
it's
essentially the club
ridiculous.
say, "Oh, we're on the limit of PSR," and instead of trying to shift players, because I get it. Look, if I'm looking at it properly, I understand fans will be unhappy if you end up having to sell your best players or your youth academy players because they're on PSR limits. I get that, all the wages you save and the money you get in the club. But I think they'd probably rather that than you hike the prices of their match-going tickets and season tickets on some level.
There's so much greed,
I don't know. I mean, if you're a fan, you can't be loving the fact that you're not only are you having to sell some of your products, but then you're also having to stomach the fact that your ticket's going up as well.
Yeah.
I think ultimately it's the whole thing about, I don't know if it was a couple of years ago, but there was a whole thing about your season ticket. If you're a season ticket holder, you have to give it back to the club. You can't just give it to a family member. You have to sell it back to the club.
What AFC Bournemouth try to do.
Yeah, and
they have people on the AFC Bournemouth Facebook groups reporting people and taking down names of people that are doing it because it's against the terms and conditions of your season ticket or buying a ticket. And other people are like, why don't you just return it to the club? And people are like, because we know the club are just going to make money off it, where we don't want to make money off it. We just want to sell it to somebody that wants to go. It's a bad indictment of the world, unfortunately. That's
it's just another way to get more money in their pocket, isn't it?
Money grab. And
exactly.
The man, I've got a mate that works in TV, and can you believe that the new deal is to be negotiated this summer for the TV deals?
Yeah.
And Sky and BT or TNT or wherever they are now, and the major international channels have asked the Premier League permission to have cameras in changing rooms, half-time interviews with coaches, and interviews with substituted players.
Oh, righty. Okay.
They've also asked for half times to be increased to 25 minutes.
Why?
So they can get all
that footage. They can get all of that squeezed in and rammed down your throat.
15 minutes is too long.
Yeah, they're going to be putting on half time. They're going to be on half time shows all the time, aren't they? They're going to get someone like
half time shows.
They're going to get Crispin and Smith come out and do a fucking
Jesus.
Macarena.
Yeah. do a match in the middle of the bloody Vitality half time. Bring out a ring.
Honestly. And I've been to a few women's games, and they do try to do something like that at half time, but that's because the audience is very different, very kids, and trying to keep the attention and try and sell that as an extra. You got this person performing at half time or before the game or whatever, which is great, which is fine. But for Premier League, your bread and butter, it's heartbreaking. When he's telling me, he's like, but the Premier League are demanding a serious amount more money for it as well. So if they're going to do that, there's serious money, and that filters down into the teams. That's where all the TV revenue goes into the.
I'll be honest, it should filter down not to the Premier League teams really. It should filter down to the EFL teams. Exactly. I mean, the kind of squeeze they put on the EFL, this is the only money we can give you in our new deal. Awful. It's ridiculous.
And less players are being brought by Premier League clubs from the pyramid as well.
Yeah.
So the money is drying up for the pyramid beneath. It's difficult.
Yeah. So I just think it's just one of these things, greed, innit?
They'll just milk it until it breaks.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens. I mean, we talked briefly about the Premier League doing their own streaming service, didn't we, at some point?
Yeah.
And that could be a massive revenue generator. That could be a massive revenue generator. I get that entirely, but
cut out the third man.
It's just I kind of think it's. I like the idea. Don't get me as a fan. But I also think to myself that's a thing where they can start exploiting, and then they will start changing things like how long half time is.
Yeah.
You know, breaks in play. It might be where they start thinking, you know what, it might be more beneficial if we have the clock stop when the ball goes out of play, which I'm a massive fan of. I actually like the idea of that.
We'd be there for hours, mate.
But that's what I'm saying. But there'll be times where the ball goes out of play, and they will have like a half time of a half time.
It'll be an NFL.
Yeah, exactly. And it will slow down. They'll start going in very quick sprints all the time. You know, like 5 minutes of play.
That's the injury to happen.
Yeah, and then. Yeah, exactly. So I don't know. There's always caveats to all these things you'd want or not want as a fan. You know, so we'll just see. Just the one thing people don't want is their money drying up, so they can't go see games, or being charged to the roof for a service to watch it just on TV.
Well, you just cut out the working man, don't you? At the end of the day, it's a working man's game, and you just basically you're cutting out the working man, and you're making it an elite thing to go and watch.
Yeah,
which
and
is
they
just
wonder why people buy Fire Sticks.
I think someone turned around and saying to me how I saw a clip somewhere was saying, oh, they went to see a Man City game, and in the row in front of them there was a row of about 10 Barcelona fans. And they were just there. They just got tickets from somewhere. I don't know.
Anybody that goes to Spurs will see the
like round. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. They're allowed to buy those tickets.
Oh yeah,
absolutely. But it's one of these things. It's just the sign of where things are going, isn't it?
Yeah.
You get people from abroad to come and see your massive club because on a one-off chance, and there'll be enough one-off people in the world to go and do it.
That's right.
Fill places like Old Trafford,
The Spurs boys will know, like Russ and Craig and Dan Lloyd that have been to the stadium. When I went to watch the Bournemouth game, we did get there a little bit early. We were in there early to watch the players warm up, and there's huge pockets of South Korean fans with just on their shirts, South Korean flags waving anytime he comes on the screen, screaming their heads off.
Yeah,
and they've got A1 position seats. They're literally right at the front.
Yeah,
perfect. Like behind the dugouts, front rows are everywhere. They've got all of the best seats in terms of your visibility and views and everything. And you think they've spent an absolute fortune on that, and that's what
they'll have spent
the clubs won't mind that. They'll go straight into the club shop and spend thousands of pounds on merch as well that's got Son's name on it, and then they won't come again for another 6 months.
Yeah.
And that's who they prefer to come through the gate than your Johnny come lately that don't even buy a drink in the stadium because he has to drink out of a plastic cup. He'll go to the booze around the corner, might buy the occasional Balti pie at half time, but the rest of the time he's not spending a penny at the club. But they got no interest in them. No interest in them at all. And that's not just Spurs, by the way. That's a generalisation of all London clubs. Basically, they thrive off the tourism, tourist fans.
And don't get me wrong, I have no real thing against that too much, but it's just how far they're willing to push it to get rid of essentially what will be the atmosphere of their stadiums.
Yeah, they will.
Because you think about it this way: if you've got Anfield's Cop, and you're and then in 10 years' time, half of that is filled with people who've only ever been there once in their life, or never been
first visit.
First visit, you lose that Cop end when you lose that atmosphere, and ultimately, and the players will probably say this as well. You lose that some of that's going to creep into the first team when they're playing on the pitch, and you'll end up being less successful, not more successful.
Yeah, less exciting.
And ultimately,
football,
you're going to lose more money, I think, in the long run doing it that way. If you're being less successful on the pitch because Rouston, I'm not. I get it on some level. You're a club, you need to make some money in order to spend it on the squad, and everything's getting more expensive, including transfers and things like that nowadays. And you're stretched to your limits from PSR and whatever it is. But it's where you're getting it from. I've heard a lot of stories about Man United getting it from £50 voucher that they were going to give out to the supporters club or something, and just acting that. I mean, that's not going to make a single dent in your PSR thing, is it? That's just you want to cut things. I mean, that's not really the kind of thing you cut.
No,
you lose more than 50 quid by cutting that. So that kind of thing. So it's just an example, and it really. So we'll see. I think also just quickly because I know we've got a limited amount of time now, but I was reading about how is there going to be 14 American owners in the Premier League?
Wow,
they need now. The 14 they need for the majority. I will say, I think although he's come out very publicly in some cases. Bill Foley's one of these people who hasn't been.
He's anti games in the US.
Yeah, exactly. He's quite anti-US style. Kind of thing.
All-star games.
Because he understands. He's kind of come in and understood that that's not something that the
I hope he sticks to
public.
That,
exactly.
He's come out and
so he's one of them.
Put his flag in the ground.
Yeah, exactly. We'll see. So he might be a good ambassador for the English side of the thing.
Well, I hope so.
An American owner, but you have to hope because he's going to be one, isn't he? The rest, and you need that one to hold out.
Talking of American owners, the Glazers are getting away with murder, aren't they? Since Ratcliffe come in, it's all his fault, isn't it?
It's literally all his fault. They've still got £1 billion worth of £1 billion worth of debt.
Yeah,
they didn't buy out that debt,
no.
And they pay six. Although that debt goes towards their PSR as well. So when you're thinking about they're paying 600 million a year in PSR in debt or something, I'm not saying it's that I read something around that number. It was 63. It might be 63 million, not 600 million.
Yeah.
But that's 63 million or so that you can be spreading across a couple of contracts a year in players, or dare I say it, giving it back to the fans in some way. Not that will ever happen.
Giving it back to fans. The old Leicester manager, the old Leicester owner. Do you remember he used to do like free pint when they were doing really well? He did like free pints and stuff. He just had a ticket, got a stamp on their ticket to say they had their free pint, free food and things for away fans and all sorts. He was class for that, wasn't he?
That's what it's all about for me.
Unfortunately, there's far too few super generous billionaires out there. Is there really? There's a
reason why they're rich, and there's a reason why they're rich.
Quite.
Exactly.
Yeah. Anyway, I think from our perspective, we're pretty much done, are we, Josh? We covered everything. What are your thoughts, Ben? Is there anything else you want to touch on?
Yeah, no, I think that's covered some bases there, haven't we? You boys are going to play football now, aren't you?
Yeah, mate.
No, we are indeed.
Looking forward to it. Brand new football. Brought the 11, the new one of the new
11s ball
for a run. That will be black by the end of it, by the way.
Yeah, it'll be black and try not to lose it.
But we'll keep one perfect for the not that we'll be hosting any games anytime soon, but as a home game. Yeah, cool. Anyway, I think that's it from us, guys. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you.
Please keep up the good work. Keep supporting each other as we have done. It's amazing to see the love and the reach out for Jim and Sam in that Manvi chat. If you're not in the Manvi chat, speak up. We can send you the link for it. We'll drop that in the description for the pod as well. And have a great week and see you all, which will be tomorrow night, which will be this evening for people when it comes down.
Yeah.
And smash it.
Yeah.
Cheers, boys.
Thanks again,
have a good one.
Bye.
Speak soon. Bye.